What's going on, folks? You listen to All Burgundy and Gold, everything pop about the urban sports scene and Fox Sports Radio 96.9 AM and AM. Excuse me, 96.9 FM and 1340 AM. Hopewell, Virginia. I'm Wole, and I'm here with my guys, Mo and George. What's going on, fam?
Great day to talk football, man. Beginning of the scouting combine, everybody salivating at the bit to see what's going to happen for next year. And we over here playing, our created rosters based off the prospects that's coming. So I'm excited, baby.
Nah, man, I'm excited too, man. There's a lot going on with the combine. If you watched it, there was some impressive stuff. You had me and Mo on the backside, kind of debating. And I told Mo, I ain't debating with you no more.
I was gonna say, I was wondering if we would have to separate you two like it was Wesley and Javon.
Right. I can never be mad. I'm gonna be real with you. I can never be mad at my West African brother. I love Mo too much, man.
Come on, man. George, if you understood two African men passionately discussing something, man.
He's telling the truth. He's telling the truth. When two Africans kind of debate, right? It's it's just one of them things, man. It's one of them things. Like, no one gives up. No one wants to give up. It's like back and forth, back and forth.
You sure you don't sound? You might be related to my family. Are you sure?
And
that sounds like my family.
George,
not giving up on
don't mess around and mess up a semantic. Oh my God.
Oh, facts. Tell him, Mo. I'm trying to teach George about this West African culture. It's real, bro. It is real.
Well, can I say this about today? I'm excited because
56.
This is the day of the combine because everybody's been raving about the defensive tackles in this draft. This is the day I'm the most excited for because all these great defensive tackles in this draft, they were almost all of them were here doing stuff today.
Yeah, you typically don't get that for real, to be honest with you. That's what kind of makes it dope. You don't get that type of, you don't get everybody partaking in it. And some of them, the reason why some of them didn't was because of injury.
Or they said they were injured. They just didn't want to do it because they're being a little scared, I think.
My man Grant from Michigan, he's really hurt. So that's why he didn't do it. He's
out. Abdul Carter's out.
Man.
Mike Green not participating. Yeah. So it's a couple of big names that are not participating. But you know what that does? That's why I love the combine. If I was a player, I would never duck the combine. Think about it.
What? I would never duck the combine.
Up there saying that you want to go to college, you want to go to the combine. Now you get a chance to go to combine. I'm putting on. I'm competing. They got to be an alpha in the room at some point, right? For all these guys that want to wait till they go have their run-of-the-mill pro day where they know everybody. Don't get me wrong. There's a benefit to that for your teammates that may be on the lower part of the totem pole. Yes, but compete, do something at the combine, man.
Here. I mean, and it's such a great point both of you are making. And I'll add this. You got to change. Okay, it's not a perfect environment. I saw tweets complaining about the field and stuff. This is the NFL. Ain't nothing going to be perfect in the NFL. You got to push through adversity. You're competing with other people. When you get to camp, you're competing for a job. I want to see. It's exactly what you said, Mo. I want to see you compete because that's what you're going to be doing. If you want to be in the NFL, it's what you're going to be doing the whole time. So do it here with all the GMs there and the coaches there, because you never get a better chance. You don't get a second chance to make a first impression, at least in my mind.
Absolutely. I mean, if you're one of those highly rated guys and you don't want the highest, you're a top 5 pick and that, I get it. You know what I mean? It only can bring down your draft stock, right? If something goes wrong. But for the most part, man, go out there and compete, man. Go out there and see what you're up against and put something on. Give them something to go back and discuss about you.
No, I agree. I totally agree. I just feel like when people don't want to partake in the 40, or when a quarterback doesn't want to take part in that in a passing drill, I'm like, come on. I mean, don't want to doesn't even want to show up at the combine. I'm like, don't you want to beat the next man right behind you that everybody talking about?
Come on,
I mean,
man.
yeah, you want the pro day is cool. You know what I mean? It's cool. It's good. You can still always have your pro day. That's not leaving you.
Listen, people get drafted in the first round off their pro day. Or J.J. McCarthy last year.
Yeah.
So like you can always go back and show something and whatnot. The year before that, Zach Wilson, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've seen everybody do this loop-de-loop throw and throw it over the other shoulder and get it to the other pylon, yada yada yada, man. So, but you know, it's that time of year, man. It's that time of year. Wole, I was going to ask, do we want to give it some time? Do we want to talk about?
We can talk about our own. Go for it, bro. Go for it.
Let's talk about JA and see if we can get the correspondence time to get back on.
Yeah.
Okay.
You said talk about. What did you say? Talk about what?
JA 93. You want to start with that, and then we can get it back into the.
Oh yeah. Let's talk about Jonathan Allen. You're right.
Let's see if we can get it time for, because I think there's some insight there that we.
We can actually do some more with Jonathan Allen right now.
Indeed.
Before we get into Jonathan Allen, let me give y'all a cheap plug. I forgot to give y'all the plug. Hey, subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and other podcast platforms. Just search All Burgundy and go everything. Also tweet us at ABG_everything. It is up on IG and TikTok at ABG_everything. If you're watching this from a different channel, hey, go to our All Burgundy and go everything YouTube channel and please subscribe. Hit that red subscribe button and also like this video. I can't say that we're all streaming on our Urban Sports X handle because Urban Sports X is doing something funny, so we're not streaming on there right now. But once I get it fixed, we'll be streaming on the X handle. If you feel real generous, hit us up on the super chats on YouTube. We'll prioritize that message. So if you feel generous, hit us on a super chat. All right. Let's go right into it. So in terms of Mo was talking about Jonathan Allen. There no reports. It ain't a report. It's happening. The Commanders are shopping Jonathan Allen, defensive tackle, via trade. First off, Mo, I'm gonna start with you, man. You surprised? Were you surprised when you heard the news?
Am I surprised? No, I'm not surprised. I think the writing's been on the wall with the drafting of Johnny Newton last year. You knew one of the D tackles was going to go. I think Jonathan Allen just got the short end of the stick this year by having that pectoral injury. Even though he did fight any battle back to get back by the playoffs and do what he can do and contribute to this team and try to give it one last showing so that this staff would probably feel a way about him. But business is business eventually, right? You have an aging 30-year-old D tackle whose last 4 years have been a precipitous drop each year, statistically, right? You have a guy in John Allen who has a history, even dating back to the old regime of questioning what was going on around here, and possibly wanting to be the catalyst behind a move like this a couple of years back, 2 years or so back. So it kind of lended itself to that, right? Clearly the new regime wants to get younger. They want to have their guys. We've seen the wide sweeping changes they've made with draft picks that are from the past regime. Jonathan Allen just coming off having incremental decrease in his production each of the last couple of years, and then unfortunately getting hurt during his tour of service this year. I think it all lended itself to that. I think that there's no real way for Johnny Newton to get on the field and show us everything he's supposed to show us if John Allen is around, right? Unless John Allen was willing to take a back seat and be a rotational type of guy, but you don't pay 16 or so million to a rotational type of guy, right? So that cap room can get freed up and it can help this regime do some more of the things that they did last year. So I wouldn't say it was a surprise to me. I think the writing's been on the wall. I think a lot of people thought it was going to happen during the midway point of this year until he got hurt. So it's consistent with the things that this regime has been trying to build. And I'll kick it to George.
Go ahead, George.
I will say I was a little surprised, not only for this reason, because I brought this up before. The not just the fact that he came back and I thought was fairly productive, the fact that the coaching staff made it a point to single out his efforts to come back and to play. I really thought he had convinced our head coach Dan Quinn and the defensive staff that he was the kind of commander they wanted around. That's the feeling I got when they were talking about him at the end of the season. And again, I thought he played well enough that you could at least make the argument 1 year left on his deal. He's put this kind of effort in to come back from an injury that you're not supposed to come back from when it happens the season that it happens. So I kind of thought, okay, maybe they ought to bring him back. Maybe they will bring him back. But it's like you say, you've got Johnny Newton. They obviously want to open up some cap space to do some big things. I don't think there's any question about that. I think the question I have is, what kind of a market are they going to get? Are they going to get a high day 2 pick for him? Because I think that's what we're talking about here. We want it to be a third or fourth round pick. We're looking at a day 3 pick, and if that's all we're going to get for him, does it make sense to let him go? If that's the case, if it's only going to be around 5 or 6 pick, wouldn't we be better off reworking his deal and keeping him?
I'll let you answer that, Wole. What say you to that?
For me, one, I was surprised because I'm used to Mo's point. Like I feel like one, like he outplayed like Payne, right? So like you're gonna choose between the two. I think he's been a more consistent player. He's been more consistent than Deron Payne, and that's just a fact. It's not no knock on Deron Payne. Everybody knows I like both, but he's been more consistent than Deron Payne. If you look at the body of work, Mo, you said like a drop. I mean, we talked about it before. His drop, like last year, the pectoral right situation. The year before that, we talked about him playing. Me and you talked. We talked about him playing fasciitis. It wasn't like because it wasn't because of his play. It was because of his ailment.
But you know that all adds up.
Oh no, I agree. But I'm just saying, like,
also.
Yeah, I agree. The injury history does play a part, right? But the year before that was 7.5 sacks. Even the year when he was hurt, had 5.5 sacks.
And the year before that was
9 sacks. So in terms of D tackle getting that amount of sacks, that's if you're not like Aaron Donald, that's really impressive, right?
That's really good production.
And if you look at the body of work, if you look at him compared to other D tackles, I said this before, he ranks up there with some of the best. I think 10th in terms of sack over this 5-year span of sacks at D tackle. You know what I mean? So he's been one of the better D tackles in football.
Eddie, man.
Yeah. So like that's why I'm surprised. I'm surprised that like when it comes to like and then what he did
to come back,
even coming out the pectoral, coming off that injury, and to be that productive, knowing that you're not 100%, but to be that productive, putting it all out on the line. I thought it was interesting. But now back to what George was referring to in terms of like, what are you going to get for it? I mean, I think it's at a point in time now that he's got to go. Like, right? Like once you tell somebody that go look for a trade, it typically tells you what time it is. Like it's not, and with this regime, they're pretty accurate. They're pretty consistent in how they do things. Like if they're trying to ship you, you're not going to be here one way or the other. It's either release or you're getting traded. And I know it sounds bad to say being released, but it's 1 year left on the deal, the money. So I wouldn't be surprised if they can't find a deal, and I'm sure they're going to find a deal. If they can't find a deal, won't be surprised if they release them.
I think a caveat here is that this regime did so well in the draft last year with a lot of the picks and the potential of a lot of the picks that I don't think that they just want to let him walk, right? They can cut him and get the money, whatever. But like, if you can get something back in return for him, even a 5th round pick, right? Like, I look back at the last major D tackle that I could think of that got traded around this time of year was Calais Campbell. I believe the Jacksonville Jaguars are trading him to the Ravens. He was coming off of
good question,
Pro Bowl year.
Mm-hmm.
He was coming off a Pro Bowl year. He was about 2 years older than Jonathan Allen was at the time. I think he was like 32-ish. Mm-hmm. And he was coming off a 3-year stretch where he had 31, 32 sacks. And all he yielded was a 5th round draft pick. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the area in which Commanders fans need to be realistic about and understanding that he's going to go outside of his service for the Commanders and the Washington football team. To other teams, he's going to look like an often injured, older version
of himself,
right, of himself.
That's true. That's a good
point.
So
if I'm trading for that, if I'm trading for your dwindling years, I'm not going to put up too much more. I look at draft capital based off of what you're supposed to be, right? We know a first rounder is a 5-year player, a minimum of 4-year player at a higher rate, right? A second rounder is a 3-year player because the team has the 4th-year option and so on and so forth as you go down the line. A 5th rounder is damn near a 3-year player. So are you going to give up something like a 5th rounder who's a 3-year going on 4-year player potentially for the last 3 or 4 years of Jonathan Allen's career?
I mean, it's a fair question to ask. It's a fair question.
So when I think of draft capital, I know, as what George said earlier, I know there's no way on this God's green earth that anybody's giving up a day 2 pick. Even the most optimistic fan has to understand that, because you're not getting a 4-year or budding
day 2 second round. Day 2 is what?
There's day 2's round 2 or 3.
Day 2 is down. Day 2.
I think you can finagle, depending on the hustle. You can finagle a 3.
Who gonna give up a third?
You can finagle a 3. Like I've seen it.
Who gonna finagle a 3 now?
Depending on who the team is, I think you can finagle a 3. I know it's a guaranteed 4.
3 is
you can
tough,
finagle
man.
a 3.
And you got to say, this is why 3 is tough for me, because that's where most people compensatory picks come in.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
that's true.
I'm not wasting a compensatory pick that I was gifted on a player that I may not have for 4 years. That's tough sledding.
It's worth a 4th. Oh yeah, 4th.
I mean, that's going to be a
I can see a 3rd. I mean, I'm not arguing. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not arguing, but I can see a 3rd. I'm not saying it can happen, but I can see a 3rd. Like I've seen teams.
I mean, but if you, even with Adam Peters' ability to draft in late day 2 and day 3, that's what he was known for when he was in San Francisco, is that he was very good at those rounds. You're talking about a 1st-round pick who's played for us for 7 years, who we've given a big contract to. Him walking out the door for a 4th or 5th-round pick.
I'm agreeing with you though.
That's gonna be tough. I think that's gonna be a difficult pill for a lot of Washington fans to swallow.
DH is like, I agree. I think look, like I ain't gonna lie. I think a 4th-round pick is like.
Hey,
yeah, I know, Paul. Chicago is dumb enough. It's right. They are dumb enough.
Paul,
I think at best, I think if the Commanders get a 4th-round pick for Jonathan Allen,
that's a good one too. They should take
I think they have sold, and they should keep running.
Okay.
If somebody offers a 4th,
I mean, obviously, the name. It depends who wants. Somebody may value Jonathan Allen more than the next person, so it depends on how you bid against somebody.
Not off of a pectoral muscle injury. And
no, see, that's your assumption. There's always a team that likes somebody more than whatever. Like we've seen it in the NFL. We've seen it. We've seen it with quarterback play. I'm
going with the probability. I'm not saying it's impossible, guys.
Yeah,
I'm going off of probability. I'm going off of past transaction with players of the same ilk.
Well, let's go. You know what? Let's go back. Let's think about this. I never thought. What's a D tackle?
What's the biggest D tackle? Come on, man. Calais Campbell. It didn't get better than Calais Campbell.
What did Calais get? What did he get again? What did he get?
A 5th rounder from Baltimore,
right?
Well, how old was he?
32.
Jonathan was what?
30.
That's fair. I'm not going to.
I mean,
that's fair.
And to Mo's point, it's also hard to make this deal now because this is the best draft for defensive tackles for who knows how many years.
I mean, look. I ain't gonna gas the D tackle. Like the D
lineman totally, not just the D
tackle. Yeah, I'm not gonna call this D tackle group like that thorough. They like deep,
it's depth, but the depth of it. I mean,
but it's not like studs. Like
no, but it's so many good. There's a lot of good players.
I mean good is different. Like good is not always
D tackles.
Huh?
It's gonna be a lot of round 2 D tackles.
I agree with that, but that doesn't mean like when we say all right. So my this is my thing. When people say a draft it's got to be. I call it like depth in terms of rotationary dudes who can play on Sundays. Yeah, fine. Yeah, it's good. But I'm talking about dogs, like dogs. Like I ain't saying ain't no dog. I mean, you know what I'm talking about, Mo. You know what I'm saying? Like when we talk about you got 3 dudes in the first 4 D tackles in the 4th round, and you can say are Pro Bowl caliber D tackles. That's to me how I judge a good D tackle group. Not somebody gonna be like, yo, he's got a lot of potential and skill, but there are a lot of guys with potential and skill. You know what I'm saying? Like that's all I'm saying. It's deep. Like, all right. What would Jazon Newton be in this draft? Where would he draft? Where would he be?
Newton would be
first rounder, right?
He'd be the number 2. He'd be the number 2 D tackle.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So that's my point.
They're not even close. He'd be the number.
That's what I'm saying. That's my point. So you just said, Mo, you said that's my point. That's the caliber of D tackles in this draft.
Fair enough.
That's
I mean, but like, even to your point, the guy that you was going to mention earlier from your school, you know, the other guy you was going to mention,
yeah, he's
right?
good. He's solid. He's good.
He's solid, right?
Yeah.
So like, if he
the other one's better though, supposedly.
no, Mason Graham is
like
Mason Graham is better. Like we're not gonna play like that.
Yeah.
We're not gonna play like that.
Yeah.
And it depends on the type of D tackle you want, because Mason Graham gives you a little bit more movement because he's like right around 300 pounds.
Yeah.
Versus Kenneth Grant, he's a nose tackle at 330. You know what I mean? So the system fit is going to matter there.
I agree with that.
System fit is going to matter there. You know what I mean? So things like that. But I get your point.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But it's a lot of. But to your point, there are a lot of solid D tackles. There are a lot of solid D tackles.
And that's to George's point, though. George is saying because they're solid D tackles.
They're solid.
Right? I can get a younger guy for 4 years for cheaper.
Yeah. But they're not going to be better. This is my thing. Chances are, I'm not going to say they're not. That's not fair. I'm not going to say they're not going to be better. But chances are, they're not the prospect of a Jonathan Allen. That's what I'm saying.
Touche. When Jonathan Allen came out, he was a bona fide.
Yeah, they're not the prospect of Jonathan Allen.
Now, I mean, but the prospect was so long ago. That was
yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like when you look at, because then you go from the trajectory, right?
So like at that point, because Jonathan Allen's not coming, nobody's trading for Jonathan Allen to come be their savior at D tackle. He's coming to be a piece.
No.
Right?
It's a piece.
I'm gonna give me a younger piece.
Yeah.
Like to your point earlier, I'll be more surprised if he goes for higher. If he goes for a pick. If he goes for better than a 4th round pick, right? If he goes for better than a 4th round pick, the Commanders have stolen.
Yeah, I agree.
Completely, right?
Yeah,
so for me, when I think of him, I see it being more so that he probably got the more likely to get cut, unless this regime just wants any draft pick that they want.
I think we're cut.
Unless the regime just wants any draft pick that's available, and they figure they'll make something out of it, because they could use it as a part of a trade package to move up. They can do a lot of things with a draft pick. So we can't just look at it like they're going to get a draft pick and they're going to stay put wherever the draft pick is.
I heard this too. That's what I'm saying. Like that's what I heard. I heard you said
if you get a 5th rounder, Glen, George, or a 6th rounder for him, and you could package that with another pick to move up in a round.
A 4th and 6th can work. A 4th and 6th could work. It could work. I heard this though. So I'm saying like you can make them bid off each other. Say, I heard Allen got a market though. I heard the Vikings won them,
Bears
and the Bears.
And the Broncos, especially the Broncos.
Yeah, I heard. I mean, he's got a market. He's got a market. Now it's all about as a GM. Is you bid them off each other and see what you can get. That's your job as a GM.
So let me ask you: if you trade for Jonathan Allen right now, with his $16 million, that means the next team has to take that $16 million on, right?
If they want that bad. Yeah.
Oh man, Jonathan Allen ain't getting traded. I mean, Jonathan Allen's gonna get cut.
I think so too, though.
Nobody's gonna want to take that $16 million
and give you a draft pick.
And give you a pick.
Yeah, they must. For that, I ain't gonna lie. That happens. They gotta really, because you got me now thinking like they gotta really be in love with him to do.
Come on, bro.
They gotta really be in love with him.
Like you gotta have a role for him that is directly, or you gotta have another stud, or you gotta have a stud that's better than John Allen.
The Bears may be the best though for him because he got Sweat over there too. I think the Bears may be the best fit for him actually.
Man, the Bears better go get them the 2nd best D tackle in draft and call it a day, man.
No,
What you need another vet? The Bears don't need an old guy. They need some, they secondary.
They're getting offensive linemen, bro. That's what they're gonna get.
Oh, they have to.
So getting a Jonathan Allen,
getting a
Jonathan Allen doesn't hurt them for real. Like they need to fix in the 2nd round. They need to go get another offensive lineman.
Every pick need to be an O lineman.
That's what I'm saying. So it doesn't hurt to get a Jonathan. So to my point, you could get a Jonathan Allen because all your picks should be O linemen. So you could do that. All your picks should be O linemen.
Man.
If we watched last year, all of them should be O linemen. Like that's hands down. I don't think our guest is going to show up according to Glen.
That's fine, man. But
that's fine. So we're going to talk about we're going to go to the combine. I watched the combine.
I'm about to say on the topic of the D tackles, right?
Yeah, go for it.
Today was day 1 of the NFL combine. That we all are enamored by, that we all tune in for to see what the next superstars and prospects are going to be, right? You saw defensive linemen and linebackers work today.
Yep.
specifically defensive linemen, since we were talking about pedigree from Jonathan Allen, which D lineman or linebacker caught your eye? I want to start with the D lineman first.
All right, go ahead, buddy. They're
George,
about the same, man.
is there a particular D lineman that caught your eye today at the scouting combine? Go ahead, Wole. Pick it up until George can get back on.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
All right, sorry about that.
Yeah, you could. You
Go
good.
ahead, Wole.
I can go. I'll go for it. D lineman, the one. I obviously, man. It's my guy from Tennessee. That's the D lineman that's the D lineman I kind of fell in love with just watching him play. So Pierce Jr. from Tennessee. He was a guy I had kind of marked before the combine. Like I already marked him because I watched. I was looking at a couple of mocks and I was like, this team needs an edge rusher. And then I went and looked at. I like body of work. Like before the combine, I like body of work. And his first, I believe his junior year, I want to say he had 10 sacks, and he followed up with a 7.5 sacks. So to me, that tells me that he's still a sack artist. You know what I'm saying? Not gonna always get 10 sacks, especially playing the SEC. That's high level football. So he had set. You know what I'm saying? And then he's slim. He's a guy who's a speed edge rusher, something that Washington doesn't have. And it's a guy that showed consistency. So for me, and then he ran about I saw you said it was a 4.47, right? That's what you saw on yours. When I watched it live, it said 4.5. Like when I watched it live. But still, that's still good, right? As an edge rusher, so he has speed off the edge. But I know I had a show prior, and I think I had a show prior with the Urban Sports Center. Candy was a guest, and she was at the combine, and she talked about what Adam Peters likes for out of edge rushers. Like he said that Adam Peters wants somebody fast, powerful, fast, powerful, explosive. And I was like, all right, powerful. I'm not sure if Pierce fits that characteristic. But again, he's still a freaking pass rusher, and this team doesn't have a pass rusher. So he's one that impressed me. Also, I want to say old boy from he went to Nebraska. He impressed me. But he's going to probably be a later round draft pick. I think I have it here somewhere.
I think I got him. Ty Robinson.
Yes, Ty Robinson.
He impressed me. I follow the math bomb, the relative athletics.
Oh man, he was dope, man.
His relative athletics.
He played with he was stiff as a D. He's a D tackle. He was stiff, but he played with his drills. He did his drills with explosiveness. You know what I'm saying? And I like that. Like all of his drills were explosive. I think he had a really good combine, like a real good combine, in terms of D tackle. So there's a few others that I was impressed with. I'm gonna call up because I took notes. I gotta actually pull up my. Hold on, y'all. I'm gonna pull this up. This real life. It's real time. I'm gonna pull up my notes I took. I was trying to go to. I thought we had another guest, but we good. Oh, I know. From Florida State, Joshua Farmer. Thought he was amazing. He had a real good combine. He looked fluent. Like I ain't gonna lie. If that's somebody, he may not. I think he'd probably be a second rounder because, like George said, it's deep. It's a D tackle. It's deep. It's a deep D tackle draft, like George said. But in terms of a guy who could contribute, I think he would be good. And another guy that I like, Aeneas Peebles out of Virginia Tech. Thought that dude was fluent. Very, very fluent. I could see him being a problem. And I actually like the kid from Iowa, Yaya Black. He was he's a big boy. He's a guy, to me, he's a fourth round and sixth round type of draft pick. But he's a guy, like we talk about Washington's interior being so weak. He's a guy that I feel like is just a run stuffing type of D tackle, which I think they need more than anything. I think they need guys who can play situational football. You need a run stopping tackle. I think he has the size and the build who will play a role. Who's not worried about rushing up and getting the quarterback. He'll take on two linemen and let the other guy free. I think that's very essential for Washington needs because when you have Payne and Allen, these are two dudes that are primarily built to like rush the passer as D tackles. Now, if you got a guy who knows his role, like I say, for the young people, Gilbert Brown back in the day for the Packers, who used to only just worry about taking on blockers and let the linebackers free and letting the other D linemen free. I think Washington needs that the most. So for me, I think in terms of those are some of the guys I liked in this combine.
George.
I mean, you already mentioned the one that I liked the best, which was Ty Robinson, because those numbers kind of popped off to me. I was looking through some other ones that had numbers posted, and another one that jumped out to me is this defensive tackle from Toledo, Darius Alexander.
He was good. He was good.
Pretty nice splits in the 40, and I'm kind of interested in him as well. But I'm with you, Wole, about I kind of want the big boy. I kind of want a 320, 330-pound big defensive tackle that's gonna help us in the run game. Because would it be nice to have these explosive defensive tackles that we were seeing come up in some of these wings? Yes, but we got to stop the damn run first, and then kind of worry about the explosiveness save that for our edge rushers.
Yo, I like this one from Paul because actually this is a guy I like too from Arkansas. Landon Jackson, dog.
Well, he's the one that had that humongous broad jump, right?
Yes. Did he have a freaking combine? Did he have a freaking combine?
He's built like a block of granite too. God,
boy is nasty. And body of work, good. And this is an edge rusher, good body of work. Hey, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mike. My bad. I saw that from Paul, and I was like, yeah. He was, yeah.
No, it was a lot. I heard a lot of good names there. Being a guy that watches college football a lot on Saturdays, like a lot of the names. I think during the course of the year, you don't know the names, but closer to this time, you start looking at the upperclassmen and delving into that, man. For me personally, like, all things withstanding, like, I really, really liked. I don't think anybody mentioned Jack Sawyer.
Yeah, Ohio State. He had a good combine. Ohio State dudes look good.
But I go with pedigree, right? Like combine, your combine to me being a former football player at the lower level and me being coach in high school, like I go with the tape first.
Facts.
If your tape look good and then you go to the combine and I see what I see at the combine and look like what I saw what I thought from the tape, I'm good with picking you, right? I don't like just getting athletic freaks and putting them there. You end up with every year there's an every year there's an outside linebacker that shoots up the rankings because he looks like Tarzan. He goes out there, he performs, but when he gets on the field, he plays like Jane. Right? That is not what the Commanders need. The Commanders need a bona fide. They need somebody that can dictate the pass rush, right? Dictate protection from the offensive lineman because of their pass rush. So when I look at the DNs, I like Mike Green. Mike Green comes with a lot of.
Yeah, did you see him play? Right? Did he perform in the combine? I was looking for him. He didn't
perform because he had a hamstring tightness.
Yeah, I like him. I
like him a lot, but I have to ask myself, even as a fan of him,
Marshall,
from Marshall, right? He's a castaway from the University of Virginia, so he's not like he just went to Marshall. He started out in the ACC. He got dismissed from the team because of some allegations, right?
Oh, he was that kid. Got you. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he came back. He transferred to Marshall in 23. Last year, he led the NCAA with 17 sacks. I like guys that perform at a high level in college. Give me the All-Americans, the guys that are noted, right? I don't want to project. This is not basketball. I don't have 5 years to figure out if you're going to be it. You got a team right now where Jaden Daniels is cheap. You want to get as many people into Washington to fortify this team so that he can be his best self. And when he can show the flashes that he showed last year, continue that and take this team to what we call sustained excellence, right? Sustained greatness, or even take the next step before you have to pay him. So that's something that has to be at the top of the mind. I think with the holes at the DN, I think Cleveland Farrell didn't fare too well. Dorrance Armstrong is there, but Dorrance Armstrong is more so a number 2, right? A number 2 DN. He's not going to be the catalyst of your pass rush.
Yeah.
So you want a guy that can come in and be great. To Paul's point, He had the Mike Green had the best Senior Bowl of all D linemen.
Mm.
He was
That's a
making
good sign.
everyone look bad. And it made so many people go back and wonder, how did he end up at Marshall? And that's why he had to answer the questions last week. I mean, not last week, yesterday at the combine as to how he ended up at Marshall with the allegations of assault, whatnot. But like the investigation was suspended. There was no questioning of him while he was at UVA. He was just dismissed from the team just based off the accusation. He reiterated his point that once again he did nothing wrong, but a caveat there as to why he got dismissed is because he came in with a similar situation from high school, another allegation that he cleared. So when he got to UVA, he was on a no
BS type thing.
No BS like, it was written in his scholarship.
Yeah, no BS.
And as soon as some BS came up, and they did exactly what they said they was going to do.
Yeah,
so,
one strike and you're out deal.
He was on a zero tolerance policy. That's exactly what it was, right? But like he's 6'3", he's 255. If he would have ran today, he would have ran in the high 4.5s. He's violent. He has quick twitch. And so what we saw, he was second team All-American. He was a finalist for the top defensive end in the country. Right? Yeah. I think those are the kind of guys you want to pair with this team. You want to have guys that, and then he's a redshirt junior, so he spent 4 years in college, so he's been developed. He's been developed, right? Those are the kind of guys I saw. He's the kind of DN that I saw coming, especially, I think he's somewhere ranked like the 4th or 5th DN, right? And I think that aligns with being picked right at number 29. I believe that's the pick that
he'll be there. Some people have him in the second round. He can actually, some people have him slide in the second round, so he'll be there.
So that would be there, right? So at that point, you're picking between what? A DN? This team could use a receiver, but do you want a receiver at 29? No, I'll probably take a receiver in the second round.
Yeah.
Right? Especially if Egbuke is there or somebody, you're going to have guys. The kid from Ole Miss is going to be there, wide receiver, but we'll talk about that another time. Wide receiver is my favorite position, guy. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? So I like to see Mike Green. I like to see Mike Green be the guy to come in here, especially like based off of his ranking on the overall big board and him possibly being there. I think that's a high value pick there, right? For the D tackles.
Hey Mo, I'm gonna let you keep going. I'm gonna introduce DH real quick because DH. I'm gonna let DH on, but you going? I'm gonna introduce you. Keep going now. Got my guy DH on. What's going on, DH?
DH.
What's up, family? What's happening?
Going on, homie?
There you go. There go that man again.
There you go. So look, we lost a special guest. We got DH. We got the homie. You know,
you got a more special.
Before you continue,
I got a more special guest. Facts.
Before Mo continues, I have not seen anything about APR, Antoine Pell Ryland, who was at Tech.
I'm about to ask about him, but I was going to talk about him, but I want Mo to finish. I'm going to talk about him.
Okay, good. Then I was curious how he did today.
I'm going to talk about it. Go ahead, Mo.
And I think because, and I know the D tackle is a position of need, but I think because of Johnny Newton being drafted in the second round last year and supposed to have a first round grade had it not been for his injury, I think the Commanders can wait a little bit. The second round pick will be still a top 60 player, right? Yeah. You can get somebody like Alfred Collins from Texas that we've seen. Yeah, his film doesn't lie. He dominates the run game.
He dominates the run game. Facts.
Dominates the run game, right? And if we look at the lineage of Texas D tackles, they had Murphy last year, who came out and was a stud for the Seahawks. So, they're coached well. Yeah. Right? So, I think I would prioritize the DN in the first round and then come back and get a D tackle because Newton, the caveat is that Newton gets a whole offseason to train this year. He's not rehabbing. He's not trying to rush back and play and impress anybody. We don't have questions of being on the PUP. None of that, right? He gets to train all offseason. He has a year of experience behind him, even though it probably didn't go the way he wanted it to go immediately. You let that play out because that's a borderline first-round pick. And you're going to have to make a decision on him a lot earlier than a first-round pick because he was a second-round pick. True. And a year technically has been, let me not say wasted, but a year has not been maximized. So
So
I
go
want
ahead.
to see Johnny Newton play every down that he can play.
You're not to expect that to happen. So George, go ahead. You want to talk about, and before I go to DH, George, you said you want to talk about the kid from VTech. I can tell you, you want to know it's 40. You on mute, George.
Sorry about that. I wanted to know how Antoine Pell Ryland did because he was a tech and
Yeah, he ran a
he was fantastic at Tech
4.6940.
this year.
He ran a 4.6940. Obviously, he's one of the better sack dudes in the country.
Yes.
So yeah, like that's where like when Mo was at body of work. You know what I mean? I like him because of body of work. I would hope that his 40 time been a little bit better. 4.69 ain't bad, you know, but it's not what you would want, right? Going, you know, obviously it's gonna probably put a hit on that kid to be like a second round, third round pick, right? But for Washington, if they like wanted to say they like somebody in the first round more, I don't think there's a problem waiting it out for somebody who's again has had success in the collegiate game at rushing the passer, because again that's his body, that's consistency, right? We're still talking about consistency, and that's a theme that kid has had. So in terms of him, I would be mad at. It'd be a guy that I would definitely keep my eye on. Obviously not at 29, but I'll be keeping my eye on him in like, you know, second, third, you know,
third round.
Yeah, third round. Definitely third round. I keep my eye on him in third round because there's things you can play around with. And again, I think people kind of like, to Mo's point, people get so fixated in, you know, what you do in the combine sometimes, like they ignore body of work. Body of work is way more important. I'm gonna give you an example because and DH, I'm gonna use DH's guy, his relative. Dre Bly was a dude that in college was one of the best corners in college, but because of people trying to look at the measurables and whatnot, they forgot the body of work. Dre Bly led the country in interceptions. He was one of those dudes.
That's right.
So like sometimes we get so fixated on what they ran the combine, what's that measurement, where's their measurements, how high they jump. Sometimes it's just a dog is a dog. Like you can't coach that out of it. A dog is a dog.
Especially when you got a dog that's not like he's not like a gimmick, right?
Yeah.
He's not a zone corner. Like if he pressing up and he catching them picks.
Yeah. And taking it to the house, he's a dog.
He on you like your shadow.
Yeah.
Proves it. I didn't know you was Dre Bry's relatives, man. The Greatest Show on Turf is my favorite team in my first year being a football fan, man. I used to like that swag, boy.
Hey,
that one chin strap, he was out there. That boy was clean, boy.
He'll appreciate
that.
But you know what, man? I think it goes to like even with the combine, right? Talking like I've had a few debates with people today, just in general about if you should work out or not at the combine, right? And it goes back to the whole argument about the body of work. Okay, I mean, and I'll get to the defensive tackle position in a moment, but I feel like just at the combine, right? There's rare opportunities for players to have leverage, right? And if you're a top pick, top 2 to 3 player at that position, you want to control all the controllables, right?
Facts.
If it's a pro day, I want to throw to my receivers. I want to be on my territory, my turf. Like, and granted, when you're up this high, you really it's only to lose things. Like you can't gain anything. You can only what you're gonna reassure guys. I heard one argument saying, well, if you're a competitor, you'll want to do it. I'm like, I compete on Sundays, bro. Like I don't worry about competing during the week, throwing against air. You know what I'm saying? Like so for some guys, they definitely need the scouting combine. They need the tape. They need everything that they need to help them improve their draft class. Some guys don't, and it's proven that some like you won't even need it. Some guys, but I feel like that's a personal decision that you can make, yay or nay. It won't matter. And if the teams don't hold it against you, then why should the fans?
That's true. That's a good point. I'll hold it against them. I would just like them to compete against each other.
Sure.
That's me personally, though. That's just me. But I get it though. Like in terms of the money, I get the money. Like I get the money aspect of like you love me anyway. Why I just don't need me to F up my money. If you love me anyway.
The only reason I concur with you, DH, even though I'm a compete first guy.
Yeah.
But I'm built that way. Like I'm just wired.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm competing over everything. Like anytime me and my guys get together, I'm trying to find something to make some ranking. You know what I mean? We leaving here with some understanding.
Okay, Denzel.
You know what I mean? So, but to your point, I remember vividly, I believe it was 3 years ago, the Michigan DN that blew his knee
Yeah.
or Achilles
Baltimore went
out,
to Baltimore. Yeah, blew it out.
and
Yeah.
the foolish staffer just kind of like was like, y'all come get him off the field.
Yeah.
You telling me I worked this hard, I put everything on tape, I'm over here doing this workout, and then that's how you treat me? You treat me like
Yeah.
you know, beneath. That was terrible. When I saw that live,
Mm.
that was the one part that was like, you know what? That young man could have sat out. He'd have been $30 million richer right now.
He would have been.
He'd have been $30 million richer right now.
He was
I'm
awesome
telling you,
too.
in
He was awesome
control,
too. He
in
was awesome.
in life, right? There is not a lot of times where you can control the variables. When you can control the variables in an uncontrollable sport, you should always do it every time, because there are going to be situations where you can't control what's going on. You can't control who you throw to. You can't control how you look. But if the team is going to say, yeah, you don't got to throw, you can just come meet with us. Okay, I want to go to my scripted workout. I'm going to throw to the guys I've been throwing to all year in my practice bubble, with the best throws that I know how to throw, not worried about, because imagine this, man, if they run the gauntlet, right, and the quarterback is putting the ball on the numbers every time and the wide receiver drop it, they're going to say, oh, he dropped the ball. They may not necessarily put it on the quarterback, but they're going to say, well, yeah, the receiver dropped the ball. So that's why I'm like, if I don't even have time to play with it, if I'm going to be a top 2, top 3, that's why I like, man, people giving Shador smoke about him not wanting to throw or whatever. Man, I don't care. Like, that's that I know, but that's the thing, bro. The film speak for itself, bro. If my film for 4 years of college football is not enough, then I shouldn't even be in the conversation. Yeah. Because if I got to throw for you to make you, decide if you want me or not, then I'm probably not the guy for you. You know what I'm saying? But I said all that to say, I think that the scouting combine as we know it is getting ready to go away in the next few years. I think it's truly going to be, the scouting combine is an event for the league, but I think the way they're going to do it is going to be shifted. I think they may add more players that actually need the combine.
And that's what it should have been from Jump Street, DH.
Add more players that actually need the combine. Yeah, versus guys that don't really need it and just want to do pro days. And I think that's what it is, right? If the ultimate thing is finding a guy that can play, there shouldn't be a limit on how many people you can invite to the combine. I want everybody to come to the combine.
With that.
Everybody.
They're going to be there anyway. I mean, the GMs and the coaches are going to be there anyway, networking, talking. That's really where free agency kind of starts.
And let me tell you,
a whole lot of conversations that are not legal strictly, but
I learned some things about the combine a couple years ago, and I look at the combine completely different now than how a lot of people look at the combine. So let me just say it. But let me stay on topic, because you're talking about
been to the combine, so I get your point.
That part. Let me stay on topic. Y'all were talking about Jonathan Allen earlier, and I was in the chat and I was talking. I feel that the Jonathan Allen train was coming to a halt as soon as Dan Quinn got here, right? Because we knew how it was going. Jonathan Allen was the one that was vocal out of everybody that was kind of talking like, he didn't really know if he wanted to be here or this and the third. He was able to talk to Dan Quinn and Adam Peters. They convinced him to stick around, and they convinced him that he would be a good leader. He did play pretty well in spots last year, but we all saw where he did not perform well. And as an aging, now injury prone, not say injury prone, but a player
injury prone. That's what you gotta use, because I think that's the reason why I would say that's the reason why he didn't play well. I think he played well even before he got hurt with the pectoral tear. He was starting to play.
Yeah, little football stuff, little nicks. So you look at him. He's aging. He's now on the ascending into the back 9 of his career on a high dollar contract. This regime is going to be smarter than the previous ones. They're going to be a year early than a year too late. Okay. They're not going to let guys hang around because they're fan favorites or because they've been a guy for a long time. No, them allowing him to go and seek out a trade and say, hey,
that's respect.
Yeah, exactly. I want to do what's right for you. And that's what the good programs do. That's what they do. So them allowing him to go and seek a trade is only beneficial to him. And it goes to show that position group had problems last year, as you could tell by the amount of guys they brought in, and how I believe they're going to address it this year in the draft. I definitely think they're drafting 2 defensive linemen, and they're still going to pick up some defensive linemen via free agency or trade. So that was a problem. That position was a problem last year, and they're going to try to correct it this year. And Jonathan Allen is going to be the first big domino to fall with this situation.
I just don't think they're going to bring in a D tackle that can be better than.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like, that's
I think it's going to be a guy that's quality
for
sure, a guy that can be developed for sure, a guy that's rotational for sure. Yeah. But I don't see them bringing it. I don't see them spending money on a D tackle, because if you spend money on D tackle, he's going to have to be better than one of the 2 that's already on there.
Yeah.
Because Johnny Newton is locked in for.
They spend the money on that end, bro.
They gonna make this, or they drafting the edge. Like that's what I'm saying. Like this is my thing. Like to Mo's point, and this is why I'm on to. Like I don't think it's the individual play than anything. I think it's more scheme than anything, to be real with you.
100%.
I don't think that like the D tackle, like again, I'm gonna keep saying it because we said in a prior show, like you could be mad at those 2 for not being able to get sacks, and that's a fact. But the problem was never for real for a point where teams were that easy to run up the middle from prior years. It was never really that easy.
We look like Swiss cheese, even with all the great things going on the field. The run defense was bad.
Yeah, with those 2 in the field, it was never that easy. You can say the argument, you can use these like, and then you can go into, truth be told, you can kind of use what you saw last year and go to what you saw the year before with the Cowboys and how they were unable to stop the run inside. So to me, it's like the only thing that you can, when you look at 2 of the situation, you say, you know what, where's the common denominator? You know what I mean? It's the scheme, right? Because you had 2 dudes, like you could say you had 2 dudes when they were healthy to start the season. That was a problem, right? They were still running the ball up the middle when they were healthy. But we've always heard other offensive coordinators or other coaches saying it's typically hard to run it up the middle against the Washington. We run away from them. You know, other than a couple teams would run up the middle. Like I use the Giants as an example. I would say the Giants would, because they would tag team block certain people, but it was never that easy with other teams. It just started getting really easy even when they were healthy. So it leads to the point of whoever they bring in has to fit their scheme so they can do what they want to do, right? Because if you look at the last couple of years with the Cowboys, they weren't stopping the run in the Dan Quinn system.
Even with Micah Parsons on the field.
Even with Micah Parsons, exactly.
So that's why it's like you get somebody that can wreak havoc on the edge, cool, but it seemed like just a lot of times they were just out of position, bro. And like the defense that I would love for them to run, they're not going to do it because those type of D linemen aren't there anymore. You mentioned something about Gilbert Brown, like those zero technique D linemen, they're gone, bro. Like they're not producing guys 360 pounds anymore that are stopgaps or space eaters, bro. All these D linemen are 320 and athletic, and they lighten the pants.
You got to be though with the emphasis on the pass game. You know,
you do.
Like,
but even with Aaron Donald, the way that Aaron Donald played at sub 290 and wreaked havoc on guys. So I don't know if it's body style, body type, or want to. You know what I'm saying?
That man
is different. He's just different, man. He's just different.
He's just destined. God, y'all watch the memes where they pour the water in the God just gave him a little bit more than that. He just didn't give him height.
Aaron Donald just different.
He poured the 5-gallon jug.
That's why I don't never compare nobody. Aaron Donald just different. That man won a Super Bowl as a decent. That man just different. That man just different.
But look at all
I'm gonna say DH is that cannot be the expectation.
Nah, for sure.
Nobody. Nobody.
But look at all the prototypical undersized D linemen that have had great careers, right? Aaron Donald, John Randall, guys that were even shorter guys, like Warren Sapp was still a shorter guy. He was still heavy, but he was a shorter guy, right? Like you look at those guys and you think about the common denominator, they all had the want to, they all had that dog attitude, right? We've seen spurts of that from J.A. when he was here. We've seen Daron Payne had that dog attitude, but it's not a consistent dog mentality.
I would see that's crazy.
I felt
like J.A. had it.
that
Your boy
Jay
consistent.
Sean.
had it.
Dude.
I feel like Jay had it. I ain't gonna do him like. I think he had it. Like you gotta look at like when we
Deron
talked
Payne, we
about it.
talking about. Deron Payne bought a dog. He didn't have a dog.
Yeah. Honestly, look, I'm gonna be real. If you look at consistency in terms of body of work, right? Oh, I think there's a stat out there. Over the last like 5 years, Jonathan Allen's top 10 in D tackles
Yeah.
in terms of sacks or whatever. So I'm not gonna ever say like I feel like Jonathan Allen, the years he's had bad years, like so quiet years is when he's been hurt. I'm gonna be real, it's when he's been hurt.
And statistically, he's always performed fairly well.
Yeah.
That's why he got that deal, that
Yeah.
second deal. Like he statistically
He's
performed very
always gonna
well.
play.
But
And
the
it's
way
ju-
the way that they're gonna play defense, he
Yeah.
doesn't fit in.
No, he
Like,
doesn't, and I agree with that. That's why I
yeah.
totally agree with you. I agree with you. Like I'm just
Yeah.
saying, like, but it goes back to scheme. As I'm saying, that's their scheme, whatever their
Sure.
scheme is. But typically, again, like when you're looking at their scheme, it's not like the D tackle is the one that creates havoc anywhere in their scheme.
Yeah.
It's the way
It's
they
the edge.
coach.
It's the edge rushers.
But also too, if he wasn't often injured now, and if he didn't have that high cap number, I don't think it's a question he would be returning.
I agree.
I mean, the
think
number matters though. The
yeah,
number
no,
matters.
it definitely does. But I think this
Yeah, I agree.
is more of a business thing than it is
I
anything
agree with
else.
that.
I think it's pretty much all a business thing, which is why I think that's the way they're handling it. They're not saying we just gonna wake up and cut you. Just say, hey, all right, go see if you can find a deal. We trying to do it this way, give you the best opportunity to get to somewhere where you and your family can go.
That
It's
you want
more
to go to. That
Yeah.
you would be comfortable at.
Exactly,
Yeah.
because I think this is way more business than it is personal. I think he can't. Of course, he can play ball. He can play ball anywhere, and I
Yeah.
think schematically, yeah, he could fit with another year in our scheme. However, they want to work it, but I just think you already drafted somebody behind him.
Yeah,
He's gonna make a lot of money this year, and he's been hurt the past few seasons. So I just think this is out of everything that's happened with the squad. This is the big domino. This is one of the big people that they were gonna have to make a decision about, and I think it's solely just business, man.
16 million.
Yeah, that's a big number, bro. Like that's a big number, and that goes back to my previous point that if he can find a trade suitor, that's why I 100% believe they will trade.
I mean, it's a big number, but it's not in the grand scheme of things. It's not that big a number.
Like for a D tackle, for a good playing D tackle.
Because Deron Payne surpassed him and went to 22.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
And Deron Payne does not produce at 22. People think I don't like Deron Payne. I just think he's overpaid.
Why would they think that?
I'm sorry. I'm not cutting the check, so I shouldn't be watching his pockets, but he's overpaid, man. 22 million, you got to give me more than 4 sacks.
Mo's right. Mo's been right about this all year, by the way.
He has. It's so funny that he keeps rolling back to Deron Payne. I was
Right?
trying
So
to think.
at the end of the day, when I look at the 16 million, makes him a little bit more tradable. It makes him a little bit more tradable because 16 million is like that's the rate that they're giving guys that are veterans, right? That are like second level veterans. Because John Allen's not an elite veteran. He's a good player. So somebody will probably pick that up. But like Wole were talking about it. That's why I think the draft compensation for him is going to be so much lower. Because if I'll pick up the 16 million, but I'm not giving you my 4th rounder that can possibly be a starter for me.
That's why I don't think it's gonna be anything higher than a 4th, which is why if somebody offers you a 4th, you jump at it and take it and move on.
I ain't mad at that.
And also too
with
with Peters, I trust them more with a 4th round pick than I do in previous regimes. You know what I'm saying? So that's why they get the pick, acquire what it is, and move on, bro. It's ripping the Band-Aid off.
Adam Peters once helped find Bobby Wagner in the 4th round.
That's
Not
right.
Bobby Wagner, I'm sorry.
Fred Warner was round
Warner,
3,
yeah.
if my memory serves.
So that's what I'm saying, bro. You giving them opportunity, and then it's who knows? This may be more of a Jonathan Allen thing than a Commanders thing because Jonathan Allen may have seen the writing on the wall with Jerzon Newton last year, the fact that he's been injured, and the fact that he may not be in the plans going forward. So they say, hey, look, if you just give me an opportunity to go find a trade, I'll try to get something myself. Or if I gotta wait past the deadline to get cut, then cool. But that's the thing, man. Like when you know. Right, you know when the team has transitioned, because remember Jonathan Allen was a focal point for this roster for so many years. The team completely transitioned away from that. He wasn't making as many of the pregame speeches. He wasn't the guy all in the media. He wasn't doing the weeklies like they were transitioning away from him. And that's no shade to him. That's just is what it is, man. A new regime came in. At some point, they're gonna have Terry's gonna be the only mainstay, the only big time, big name mainstay from that previous regime that's gonna surpass all his other players that have been drafted. Terry is a career commander. He will retire as one of us, but everybody else is gonna be up to is gonna be subject at some point to not be here.
Yeah.
Y'all go ahead and subject Deron Payne to that next year then.
It's possible. You know who I wanted to see in the combine, and we're going back to combine. Who I wanted to see, I wanted to see Donovan as a rookie. I wanted to see him perform from Boston College. I didn't see he wasn't out there, but that's a guy I'm interested in. I'm very interested. I know he's gonna probably, but see, Mo, to your point, he's gonna be like, I think he's definitely gonna be gone before Washington.
But he's ranked right now. Right now, he's ranked like the number 12 DN or defensive lineman.
Yeah, defensive lineman. I think edge rusher. Like I've seen him as far as he varies. I've seen him as far as middle of the draft, and I've seen him in the back of the draft.
He's definitely a day 2 pick. He's not gonna be a day 1 pick.
It's crazy. It's crazy how now
he's gonna be a day 2 pick.
16.5 sacks.
Because he's 6'2" and he's 240.
Yeah, I know he's small. Yeah, depending on he probably doesn't fit. I don't think he fits Washington's.
Like somebody's going to get him, and somebody's going to make him a pass rush like specialist in spots.
Yeah,
until he can put some more.
I like production. You know, I'm into production. I just feel like production is everything to me. You see this? He's the type of player like the Eagles get. You know what I'm saying? Like they just like production in college and let it rock. I like players like that, dudes who've done it at a high level.
That done it.
Like they do it, man.
But you got to think about it, like. You're 29th pick, so you're the 29th pick in every round.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah, I know, I agree.
So like you got to look at guys that are like more like a little bit more projections than studs because they're going to be gone. Like I like Kyle Kennard from South Carolina for the Commanders. I like his upside. He has a little bit more rocks in his pockets at 255. He's 6'4". Yeah. He fits that long arm. You know what I mean? Like. You talk about a guy that dominated the
11 sacks. 11 sacks. He was solid. 11 sacks.
He played really well in the SEC this year. You know what I mean? Like, but then again, South Carolina also has 3 defensive linemen that would have gone in the
combine. What are you running? Who's in the combine?
This goes all to show how, as fans, we've never had to process picking this late in the draft, right?
Yeah.
So now the strategy of the draft is going to be completely different because, like you said, Mo, they're going to be drafting more projection type players. They're going to be drafting more depth pieces because you're not picking top 15. You're not picking top 10, right? You're probably picking more seasoned guys with more plays under their belt, guys that you may have a little bit more tape on, a little bit more knowledge about, right? So I think picking this late, and this is something I project we're going to be doing a lot for the next few years, picking this late in the draft, you're going to have to adjust how you attack the draft with who you get and where you're going to be able to get them at.
I think it's a little different though. I'm with you, DH, but I do think it's a little different. And Mo Kennard ran a 4.73. 4.73 in combine. I will say, like, I think Washington's in a different situation though too, is because they lose a lot of players in free agency. And also they're not. I mean, we all can agree, like they got there with great coaching. So the depth is a little different from like other years when your team just super talented and stacked. Yeah. This team isn't as talented and stacked as some of those other teams that probably say made it to the NFC Championship or the AFC Championship or the Super Bowl. So I do think, to your point, 29, you're gonna like at 29, you're gonna try to probably off projections, but at the same time, I think you're gonna look at it maybe similar to you looked at it last year. To be real with you, like you got how you drafted Mikey in the second round or how you drafted whoever, because you gotta look at it like we're still not all the way there talent wise.
But I think that's the goal.
Yeah.
But like to DH's point, at 29 in the second round, the 60th player, when you get to like the 60th player in the draft, like that's when stuff started getting wacky. Like last year, y'all got Mikey, but because of where you were at in the draft, and Mikey,
very true.
You know what I mean? Like so you got a guy early that you're like, all right, he might be small. Yeah. But he has years
spent. But he's done it before.
He's done it
at a high
before,
level,
right?
champion.
He's shown it on the highest level, right? he
and
was
played
the
a lot of
team
ball
captain,
too.
right?
Yeah.
So now,
Mhm.
not saying that y'all gonna go reaching for guys, but the point is that at 29, you start to see like those late first round picks that miss. Like now you're in that territory. You're not getting you're not at the top of a round where like it's like even if we swing and miss, we're gonna land on a person that has
I agree with
immense
you.
talent, right?
Yeah.
You didn't even think Mikey was gonna be an outside corner this year,
They got
and he
to be
played
nickel. Yeah.
awesome out there.
Yeah.
Right. He played awesome out there.
Yeah.
And like, so that's the I keep when I talk to fans about it being that 29th pick, they think that I'm like I'm not trying to be a hater. I'm just bringing reality to the situation. Like
No.
it's not
Yeah.
you're not gonna have the success of last year's draft because you're picking what? Last year was the second pick in each round.
Yeah.
Like you're picking 27 other players later.
Yeah, but I will say this though. But and James said that I totally agree with him. James like now we get to see Adam Peters live up to to his name.
Exactly.
So I think this is the point. Like
Exactly.
I think to your point, like you're right, but this is your job of a GM, though. Real talk. Like at the end of the
This
day,
what you do.
like
This
it's
That's
the
when you
job
lean
every
of
on
a
this.
GM's
on your
job, though,
guy.
Wole.
Yeah.
We get that. That's every
yeah.
GM.
This is your job of your GM.
But
So
now
because
we have to,
it goes to like this point, like it goes to how I use the Eagles as an example. I know I hate them, but I do like the way they draft. Like they draft late often.
but the guys that they have got that produce are not late picks though.
Not that one, but the what's the name?
Jalen
They got
Carter
him late.
wasn't a
They got
late
the corners
pick.
late.
Devontae Smith wasn't
The
a late
the
pick.
corners were late.
Yep.
No,
The
what's
corners
name
were
was a
late.
mid-rounder last year?
No, they were late.
He was
Cooper
20
DeJean
pick
was
last
round
year.
2.
Quinyon Martin,
Regine,
Quinyon Mitchell was like 20
Quinyon was their first rounder, but late first rounder. But they what's name? But DeJean was a second rounder. They
But
didn't draft early.
moved up for DeJean though.
No,
They did.
but
Yes, it is.
slightly. It's in the second round though.
I know,
Slightly.
but they moved up for DeJean.
But I'm just saying, my point is like they moved up slightly, but it was like I think was it 2 slots or was it 2 slots? They move up.
They made the deal with us, right?
I think
Yeah. They didn't move up. They didn't move up a whole lot.
They did a whole lot.
Yeah, they
that's
didn't
what
move
I'm
up
saying.
a whole
Like
lot to get them.
you get who you get. Like they get the way they draft is they get who produces. That's all they do. Like they
And
get
just
who produces.
and that goes
But
into
Cooper
value.
also fell because he was hurt. I'm not saying that.
But I'm just saying, like that's my point. But just you say my point. Like it's not forget that what they dropped. They got that player. It's not about him falling. They got that player. Like they decided to say, like the GM said, forget the player being hurt. They said we're getting that player because his body of work. That's what I'm saying. It's up to so it goes back to James' point where if you're drafting late, you got to say to yourself, will this dude produce? Does this dude produce in college or whatever his thought process is? Did this dude produce?
Quinyon Mitchell went 22nd, and then Cooper DeJean went 40th.
40th. That you got in the 40th. DeJean is one of the best players, like one of the best corners in college football.
Yeah.
In Iowa.
He was hurt, Wole. That matters.
That's not my point. Look, you're not listening to the point. And forget where he dropped. Forget him being hurt. They decided to draft him. That's my point. They didn't pass on him. It's a late round pick. They didn't pass on him. When he came to my point is when you said 29. Forget injury. I think you got to throw that injury thing. 29. You decide who you drafted 29, right?
Yeah.
You decide. That's my point. The Eagles decided at 40, regardless at 40, they said to themselves, we're drafting that kid even though he's hurt. That's a late round pick, right? They decided to draft him, right?
He was the 18th pick of the second round, That's not a late pick.
He decided to draft him. So they forethought. They said he is good. His body of work is good. That's my point.
I'm not saying that Adam Peters is not a forward thinker.
Yeah.
I didn't say that.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is across the rounds at 29, you're not guaranteed to have I think because they drafted so well last year, everybody's like, they're going to draft well again this year. You're not.
We're saying the same thing, bro. We're saying the same thing. You're doing your job as a GM. That's the point. That's the point. Do your job as a GM.
Everybody thinks they're doing their job every year.
No.
When
you do even Baltimore. I'll give you an example. Baltimore Ravens draft late. Used to draft all the time.
They're the best late drafting team ever.
That's my now you're moving. You're moving. You're moving the needle. You're moving the needle. I just said Adam Peters, do your job. I'm not saying they're the best draft. I'm not doing that. All I'm saying is to your point. I'm using your point for you said drafting late. If you do your job and you're good at your job, if you're really, really good at your job, like everybody deems Adam Peters to be really, really good at his job, that 29, you can find somebody good.
I'm not arguing that.
That's all my point. That's my whole entire point.
My point so I don't sound like a hater.
I ain't saying you a hater. I'm not calling you a hater. That's the one thing. I'm not calling you a hater. I'm just telling you.
I'm not saying that this man can't do his job.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. I ain't calling you a hater.
For the fans that think they're gonna go, y'all gonna go 4 for 4 in y'all first.
No, that's impossible. That's the draft. You could be drafting top 5 and mess up. I don't do that. I don't do that. I'm just saying, like, everybody says, like, it's gonna be hard for him to recreate what he did last year. That's a fact. I'm not here to say that that's easy. That's hard. The draft is a crapshoot, regardless of what anybody says. I kind of think myself personally, though, I think you're better off to be successful if you go for players who've shown you before in college. Like Cooper DeJean, when he was on the market, when he was out there, I was like, somebody draft him before the Eagles do, because he's done it at a high level.
So drafted
and was one of the better players. He slipped at 22. He should have been drafted earlier than 22.
So drafted,
like, he should have been drafted earlier than 22. Everybody knew it.
Yeah.
Everybody knew it. But they kept slipping on him, and then the Eagles took him. So my point is, when you see somebody,
just like what happened with Jalen Carter the previous year.
Exactly. When Jalen Carter's example, when you see somebody, you know he played at a high level. At the end of the day,
just take him.
Just take him. Just take him.
Yeah. So like you said, drafting where we will be drafting may play right into our hands, because we will get guys that may have been more seasoned, may have been better players, guys that could have failed, may have fallen for whatever reason. Like picking there will give you an opportunity to really take those guys. And then also, like you say, you know, leaning on your scouts, leaning on the guys that have done the work, because they've seen all the film. They know, man, the league know if you can play or not, bro. The league know if you can play. And especially at that point in the draft, man, the good teams that are able to continuously draft in the 20s and up are the teams that do it all the time. The Chiefs find a way to retool and get guys. They're not doing a whole bunch of this stuff through free agency. They're doing their stuff through the draft. They got the one piece that was needed, was a quarterback, which has been solved with Patrick Mahomes, and they find guys here and there. Yeah, they plug and play some free agents here and there, but primarily it's through the draft. So, you know,
I'm gonna have to argue with you on another day, DH. Who can City draft?
Hey, man, let me tell you.
Nick Bolton.
They drafted somebody because they always in the playoffs, and they always in the Super Bowl.
They got 15, they got Andy Reid, they got 87, they got 95.
Nick Bolton was good, bro.
Nick Bolton's all right. Nick Bolton,
in a 53-man.
Nick Bolton, all right.
Because he's older now, but he was good when they got him. He was still. Now you sound like a hater. Now you do sound like a hater.
With a 53-man roster.
Nick Bolton was good, bro.
With a 50, you said with Nick Bolton,
yeah, I know he's tripping.
With a 53-man roster, regardless if you say they got 4 or 5 guys that are there every year, they still got to find 40 plus other guys to fill that roster out. And I got a perfect example for you.
And Joshua Williams, to my guy from HBCU. I love Joshua Williams.
They got a guy out of Virginia Tech, Chamari Connors, cornerback that played for them. I remember covering him a few years ago at Virginia Tech. Mm-hmm. He was a late round draft pick. He got drafted to them. He stuck and he stayed, and he's made plays for them. Granted, that's one guy on the defense, but that's the thing, man. When you're a good front office and you're able to find guys, that can just play well for you, man. Hey,
Jamari Connor was a 4th round pick, man.
Hey,
they find him. They find him.
All right, let's go through this. They chose Xavier Worthy last year.
Yeah,
28th pick. We'll say that he's fair. Yeah. Nobody else in that draft class is.
Why are we going last year? Go not last year.
Let me go down the line. The year before that, they drafted Felix Ananduke Uzoma, the DN. Nothing. The best pick from that draft was Rashee Rice in the 2nd round. And I'll give you Shamari. Okay, I'll give you Shamari. Okay, that's 2 people in that draft.
Good role player for them.
From that draft. The year before that
Creed Humphrey draft. What was the Creed Humphrey draft?
Huh?
Big Duffy. Yeah.
What was the Creed Humphrey draft where they drafted the center?
Humphrey was 2 years. That's the Nick Bolton draft.
Yeah, okay. Nick Bolton draft.
Yeah,
Nick Bolton and Creed Humphrey.
Yeah, hey man, look.
Listen, all you gotta hit is 2, bro. Like, that's not bad, bro. Everybody don't hit Eric. That's not bad. Come on,
teams.
Eric,
look,
that's not bad, bro.
Teams have way more misses than they do hits.
Exactly.
I understand, but two players in the draft ain't
bad, bro. Real talk, it ain't bad,
bro. Ask the Giants. Ask
much
the
I ain't
Raiders.
playing?
I know. That's
Y'all
why I
might
wanted to
ask
ask you.
Y'all might ask
Two
the
ain't
Giants.
bad, bro.
No,
Now you
that's what
trying
I'm
like
telling
acting like you act
Ask
like
the
two
Giants,
good
The
players. ain't
Giants
Raiders.
only average 2 guys per draft. That's why I'm telling you, DH. I know from pain.
Hey, bro, two ain't bad.
That was
bro.
an intentional question. That's why I said that.
By the way, can I
Why
throw
you
this
take me
out
there,
here?
DH? Why you
I'm
take
sorry,
me there?
Go ahead, George. Go ahead, George.
I just want to throw this out here. Also, drafting where Washington's drafting at 29, that is a prime range for trade ups and trade backs.
That is true.
And given
Facts.
the roster issues that we have, I'm
get
kind
more
of bracing
picks.
myself to move back because some of these running backs, some of these defensive tackles are going to fall. And yes, I know you don't get the 5th year if you draft them at 33 or 34 or 35.
So what?
But I'd also like the extra draft capital that they're going to get. I'm kind of willing to give that up to get extra picks either next
That's a
year
fact.
or extra picks later in the draft.
There is nothing that there you can look at our draft order and tear it up because I'm gonna tell you they are not gonna stay in any of those positions. I believe they're gonna be moving around, willing and dealing, and
I think
that's the only way to get the team better.
I'm about to
I
say,
think
George,
that's absolutely right.
I think that was a great point, George, that you're going to have a lot of teams that are at the beginning of the second round. They're like, you know what? Let me get that player now.
Oh, they went back in.
And they're gonna jump. You got the Commanders to jump back to the Commanders and now jump to the front of the second and have multiple picks. Like who did it last year? Who did it amazingly last year?
We did it with Montez Sweat.
Yeah, we jumped back into the first
Back
round.
in the-
Montez
yeah,
was the 24th pick, right? Something like that, right?
No, he was like Montez, right? We
30th,
were
I thought.
Because Haskins went like
Late.
12,
Yeah, Montez is
and then
like
Montez went like
I thought
17.
Montez was 30.
30.
in that
He was like
draft.
late. Yeah, he was late. Montez
Okay,
is late.
So it was late first round. I
So
remember
Haskins
because
was middle of the first round, and then
Haskins was middle of the
Montez
first
was
round,
late.
and
He was
everybody
like,
went crazy.
we traded back
when
in
it
the
came up
first.
Washington instead of the
I knew I
Colts.
wasn't tripping. 26th pick, Montez.
yeah,
I said 24, but I knew it was.
We traded back in it. Like we was late.
and
We
Haskins was like 14 or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, when everybody swore,
Bills
when the
did it
Giants
last
swore
year.
that Daniel Jones was going to get taken by Washington, so they took him 4th. What the
because
hell?
we was like the first. I think we're the first. We may have been like we was like the first or whatever second pick in the second round, something like that, and we just traded right back in to the first round.
The Bills
Yeah, we
did it
did.
last year. They
We
traded
gave
their
up a
first
second round pick the
and
next
still
year to
got
do it.
Keon Coleman in the beginning of the second round. So George, that was an excellent point. I didn't even think about the draft, the trading back, and all the teams that are going to be thirsty to jump back in the first round.
I agree.
Yeah.
We need speed and quickness on defense. We do. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, we do.
I agree.
So
All that.
that be able to set, and you need speed and quickness to be able to set an edge, and that's our big problem.
What are
is that we couldn't set an edge
the
last year.
two main holes on the defense to you guys?
Oh, it's the edge rusher. Edge rusher. I ain't gonna lie to you. It ain't D tackle to me because I feel like anybody you draft is gonna be a depth piece anyway. Reason why I say that is because you got Payne and you got Johnny, so everybody else is a rotationary dude person. So I don't.
And they like Sheldon Day too.
I don't like him that much, but they can like him. I need run stoppers, man. Like I think everybody else, if you ain't stopping, when you come in and you're not stopping and running, you're not doing friction. I'm not in love with you. And if you're a starter, then that's up to you guys. But in terms of like the rotationary dudes, when you come in the game, I need you to stop. I need your role. I don't need your role to be rushing the quarterback and getting sacks. I need your role to stop the run. Like when you're in there, I need you to be some type of friction. So I got two guys that I kind of rely on doing that. I can tell that's how they play. That's how they play their defense. So I need somebody who come in there who can stop the run.
I say edge and a third linebacker because a lot of times they were in with having a good hybrid type linebacker.
Yeah,
because they ran a lot of nickel last year, right? So you only had 2 linebackers on the field. But if you have a good third linebacker that can be a hybrid that can cover. And that can also help in the run game. I think you can go a lot of base defense and not have to rely on having a 5th corner in there or a 5th defensive back in there, like they had most of the game.
All right, I'll say this to that point. I agree with you, but I'm gonna tell you why it's going to be tricky. Is because it depends on what happened. One, I mean, you're saying this with Bobby Wagner's coming back, right? You're anticipating Bobby Wagner being back, right? They like McGee.
So Jordan McGee.
They like him a lot.
Okay.
A lot. So he would be the guy.
Healthy, he would have showed a little bit.
They like him so much that he would be the linebacker.
Got you.
So that's what I'm saying. Like That's so I know everybody talks about and linebackers, a dude I'm kind of like fixated on too. But I've heard like they are in love with like Jordan McGee. Like, and it's from camp when I was at camp, they were in love with him. They really wanted him to, and you saw him play like he would play early in preseason until he got hurt, where it was like, all right, you didn't get to see him anymore. They liked him a lot.
So would that make corner the second most important?
I think corner's the second,
right?
I do.
I think. Are you guys good with the safeties if Chin returns?
I would tell you this. Y'all can speak for yourself. I think they need more versatility in safety. I do think that you need. I don't have an issue with either. With
you ain't like Quay's jump
there.
Last year,
huh?
You ain't like Quay's jump last year, or you ain't think it was enough?
Who?
Quay Martin.
Oh, I like Martin. I love Martin. I like Martin a lot. But I'm just talking about Chin because he's the free agent. I just think that they need that playmaking safety, and I feel for who can really change the field. So if you told me if there's a guy, I'll say this: if there's a guy in the second round that falls to them that fits that mold, I would think real hard of like not letting him get by because I do think they need that type of player. Cornerback, you could say the same. Like cornerback, I think they need a corner only because obviously you got Lattimore, you got Mikey, right? We'll start there, right? But you can't trust Lattimore in terms of his health. So I feel like drafting a corner will behoove you because that if Lattimore goes down, if he goes down, you can still kick Mikey back outside.
Thank you.
And with the other cornerback starting. Mikey starts regardless. I want people to think that Mikey starts in the NFL. People run 3 sets all the time. So Mikey starting regardless. Just like the Niners did with Carlos Rogers. When they ran 3 sets, Carlos from going outside, he snapped inside, and the other corner played outside. It's the same thing. Mikey still starts. The other corner, it'd be the rookie corner would be the guy that kind of would be out if they're playing base, right? 2 wide receivers. But typically they're playing 3 receivers anyway. No one's playing 2 receivers anyway. So you'll have all 3 of those corners playing. So what I would do is I would draft a corner. Truth be told, it's really between corner and edge more than anything. And I feel like the best available. So this is my thing in this draft, and we'll see like the cornerbacks. I think cornerbacks combine is tomorrow. The best available out of edge rusher, because they're even for me. I'm not gonna lie to you. The best available out of edge rusher and corner, I'm taking. And they got to be the best out of those positions. So
at 29,
better than the edge rusher, I'm taking the corner. If the edge rusher is better than the corner, I'm taking the edge rusher. That's how I would do it.
Does this all contingent upon what they do free agency, man?
Absolutely. But
I think if they make a big time trade or get somebody in free agency, man, that definitely adjusts what they do at those positions. I think
to Wole's point, with Lattimore's health history, even if they make a big deal for somebody that's a top flight corner, you're still looking, maybe you wait until day 2 or day 3, but you're still looking at a corner in the draft because you sure as hell know that somebody's got to go in, somebody's got to replace the Wegmans employee who should not be named.
I'll say this though too. What makes it easier for a corner rather than signing a corner, because I like Ward. I do like Ward from San Fran. A lot of people said that, but that you got to pay him as a starter. Like he's a starter, and then what you do with Mikey, right? So it's a whole. I would prefer personally to draft the corner or the kid from Green Bay. That's a good one too. Who's asking for a trade? Yeah, Zaire. Yeah, Zaire Alexander. But what I think is better in terms of money, and I feel like it's probably. Money. I feel like it's better for the team to draft the corner and have him play outside.
Spend that money on the O-line.
Yeah, exactly, and put that money somewhere else because you got to pay.
Because Alexander's
if you value
money outstripped his production in the last few years.
Yeah, and because the thing about it, you got to think about it. If you're paying you value Mikey a lot, you think Mikey could be a top tier outside corner. All right, if you think that, then you really don't need to sign.
You don't need to get nobody better than them.
Yeah, exactly. So you're better off drafting a corner.
Get somebody that you can develop that can play now.
Who can play outside
Mikey
too.
Can play in the slot until
exactly. So Mikey can slide because Mikey can do both. You got Mikey who can do both. I think it's better suited for you to draft a corner. They say, "Oh, Mikey, all right, Mikey, all right." They run 2 wide receivers, Mikey and Marshawn. Y'all good. Y'all got it. Then all right, when they run 3, hey, Mikey, slide inside, rookie corner, you outside. Cool. Now, if Lattimore goes down, you don't feel like, oh, snap, what I got to do? Nah, rookie, Mikey, outside. Cool. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I would do it. I think you're better suited to draft a corner. Truth be told, now I started to think about it. If the corner, I want them to get the best player available. I would say corner is more valuable, and it sucks for me to say it because I do think they do need an edge rusher in the worst way. But I do think you can get that to what George is talking about, and what George is talking about. I think that's easier to get. Truth be told, like in free agency or via a trade, that's easier to me.
I mean, Hassan Reddick is out there.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like there are players out there. You got Mac. You got Mac out there. Yeah, so
I mean, you got options, man. But
they gonna have options.
Man, take us home, man. DH gonna have us here all night.
I know, man. He is. Man. You are, man. Hey, appreciate everybody for pulling up, man. Apologize for things happen with guests and whatnot all the time, but
we got look at the feeling though.
It's dog. He's the MVP.
And I don't even want to call you that. That's no disrespect, G.
No.
I mean,
it was a come up for us. I ain't gonna hold you.
Exactly.
Hey, man, come
on,
already
man.
know.
So
he hit me with a text. I was like,
he said, "Keep talking, Mo DH coming on." I was like,
we're bringing a first round.
I was on my phone. I saw
DH.
I was like, "Hey, if you need a guest, if I need a guest, I got you."
Hey man, listen, man. I appreciate y'all as always, man. And I love being able to get back into the conversation. Like I said, man, I done took a month off from creating content. So like now everything ramped back up. I'm good. I'm ready to go. I'm off the hangover. You know what I'm saying? It's the season hangover. Now I'm into off-season mode. So now I'm like, let's rock it. So anytime I can get on with my guys, man, I always appreciate y'all.
Hey, DH, how can folks catch you on social media and tell everybody about your content, bro?
Hey man, you can go on YouTube to Breaking Command ENT. You can always like and subscribe on everything there. Also, man, you can hit me on Instagram at DWill on the mic. And you can hit me at on that's crazy right there. You can also hit me on Threads at the same thing. You can hit me on Twitter too. But I've since deleted Twitter, so you can hit me, but I won't get the notification. But I'm on there.
Yeah,
but y'all can.
I'm close too.
Hey man, look, I had to
I'm close to
exactly. But yeah, man, like I said, man, we ramping it back up tomorrow. Brand new episode of the Afternoon Kick with myself and Rio Robinson live at 5. So make sure y'all check that out. And I'm just getting ready for this good off season, man. A whole lot of talk. I'm hopeful. I'm positive, and I'm just glad, man. We got another one, man. We got another one coming.
Hey, Paul,
DH can preach and sing too. Don't forget that.
Hey, Paul, I saw Landon Jackson's stats. I was impressed with the combine. Actually, he doesn't fit my mode on. Like his Saturdays aren't good enough for me. 6.5 sacks is cool, but I want better. So yeah, he's cool. His combine was off the charts though.
He's gonna help in that run game though.
Yeah, he will though.
He may not be the biggest sack artist, but he's gonna be in that.
No. He fits though. He's
Wiley said that's 6 sacks is not enough. Make it enough, Smokey. Trust me.
Yeah, I'm Blue Sky. I got a Blue Sky account too. I'm all blue. If Blue Sky starts letting folks stream, it's a wrap. Let me say that.
Sure.
It's a wrap. I ain't doing X no more. That I will tell you. Once they start doing that, it's a wrap. Anyway, man, appreciate everybody for pulling up and tuning in. Hey, I'm gonna reiterate it again. Subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and other podcast platforms. Just search All Burgundy and Go Everything. Also tweet us at ABG_everything. It hits up on IG and TikTok at ABG_everything. If you haven't, make sure you subscribe to our All Burgundy and Go Everything YouTube channel. Also, do not forget, hit that like button right now. All right, waiting for you. All right, thank you. Appreciate you. All right, man. Appreciate everybody for pulling up and tuning in. Anyway, you've been listening to All Burgundy and Go Everything, powered by the Urban Sports Scene and Fox Sports Radio, 96.9 FM at 1340 AM. Hopewell, Virginia, for ages. You dig? Deuces. We are out.